Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to install 2005 to 2009 Ford Mustang headlights. If you come over here and look at the current headlights, you can tell they're very oxidized. I know the car itself is currently dirty, but you look at this as compared to these and you'll see the major difference. So these headlights are just factory stock Ford Mustang headlights from 2005 to 2009. I bought it in a giant collection of parts with turn signals, headlights, a stock V6 air intake, and fog lights. Now with this being the Bolt, it doesn't have fog lights, but the cool story about all of those parts was I just randomly found them on Facebook, and as it turns out, these parts came off of my friend's Mustang. It's been about 2 years since he had that car, and I find it just crazy that I actually tracked these parts down, and now they're gonna live on in my car. Another thing I'll be addressing is this bumper is cracked, so I have to find a better way of mounting. That's the old turn signal. Those ones are a little bit cleaner, so I'll probably be putting those in. So until I get to that point, I'm just gonna start off by showing you how to get the bumper off. The only tools you'll be needing will be a extension. This one is just shy of 1 foot long, a couple variations of pry tools, a thinner one if possible, and a slightly wider one. You'll need a 10mm socket, an 8mm socket, a Phillips screwdriver, and a handheld ratchet. First thing, you have to get in here and take off this wheel liner just enough to get in here to release the front bumper from the fender. These are Phillips head screws. Same thing on the other side. I recommend moving the wheel out of the way to reach it. After that, we'll come up top, start taking this apart, and then we'll just keep going as the process continues. All right, so I got the first 2 screws out. I think due to that bumper being cracked, that piece came off. It's not supposed to, but I do intend on replacing the bumper. What I had to do was move the steering wheel inward to get to these 2, and then I moved it outward to get to this final screw down in this corner. It's a little bit tricky, but that is the next step. Here's a closer look at what I'm doing. So screwdriver, it has to be behind the wheel, and you have to somewhat use your other hand. I'm currently recording, so I can't show, but right hand on the screwdriver and hold that little fender liner here backwards to apply pressure. Then the screw just comes right out. Once you get those 3 screws out, you will pop the fender liner off, and you'll have a 10mm there, and just shortly behind it. For the rear one, I recommend getting a extension about the size of the bumper and taking it down here and going up to that rearward one, so that way you don't have to worry about this smacking against the fender liner. Then once you get that down, you'll do it on the other side, and it will be time to move up to the top. Just to recap, you have the 3 Phillips screws taken out. You have to move the steering wheel both directions on each side to get to all the screws properly. There may be, on this side I didn't have it, but there may be a plastic Phillips screw head clip, whatever you want to refer to it as, in that hole. It'll just come out whenever you take the fender liner. And then you've got to take off these 2 10mm nuts. Same thing on the other side. The only difference here is you got to be careful of the windshield wiper fluid reservoir. Another thing on the other side I didn't have to do because I already took that one out. You'll have to disconnect the bulbs. There'll be 2 on the side marker turn signal. You'll just have to remove those before you move up to the top. So up here on the top, you'll have plastic connectors. One will be thin and that little center portion will come out, and one will be wide. And you'll see a little bit of an indentation on the side that you can fit a trim tool or a flathead and pry it up. And once you get all of those off, it'll be down to the 8mm and the 10mm to loosen the headlight, and this little portion that is still attached to the bumper. So what I'm going to do now is give you a overhead look, so that way if you take this front bracket off, you won't forget the orientation. The wide ones go in the top left and top right, and then you'll have the smaller ones here, 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 and here. As well as this, I'm going to post a link to all the plastic clips in case these break, and I'm also going to find the ones that go back here behind the turn signal, since the driver's side is missing on mine. So once you get that upper tray off, you can go under and pop the bumper off. The little crash beam support will fall down. That is perfectly fine. Once you get the front bumper removed, you'll have the 10mm I was talking about earlier here. Then you'll have one right there. There should be another one. Yes, right there. Same thing on this side, up top, down in that corner, and then one right there. All right, so the driver's side headlight is now out. Word of the wise, be careful whenever you remove it, because this will still be in there. You'll just have to rotate to the left and pull it out of the back of the headlight. And as you pull the headlight out, slide it along the fender because you kind of slide it into the fender to mount it, and the same thing will happen on the passenger side. So before you put in the new headlight, you'll notice on the old one, you'll have a red seal that you will have to transfer onto this one. Don't forget that, I just did. After you get the headlight into place, you get the bulb installed back into it. This is kind of what I was talking about, where you have to slide it until this piece meets up with those holes. You will see that it is right about there. And then you'll fit the bottom side, it'll slant into the fender. So this side is already loose. I just want to leave it up there to get a comparison now that I have the other end attached. That looks so much better than that. After you get everything bolted back up, headlights should be in place now. You'll put that little crash beam foam right under the grille on this portion within the bumper back there. So when assembling it, you'll have these tabs on the bumper that will connect right underneath the headlight. And what you'll want to do is make sure that those and the top one all meet before you finalize it and align it under this little segment of the fender that has the bolts. And then you'll just bolt it up into place. After you get those 3 10mm put back in, you only have to take off 2. You will have to take your turn signal plugs and put them back into the respective bulbs. I got the fenders finished up, bulbs put in, top portions on, and I'm gonna wait until I wash it to show you the final result. All right, I've got it outside and sprayed it off. And would you look at the difference those new headlights made? I know they're just stock housings, but to me, it honestly fits. This is a Bullet Edition car, so I want to keep it as original as possible, and these seem to do just fine. So that's going to do it for today's video. I'm very happy with how this turned out. If this video helped you with your installation, please let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to start to do with this car. And yeah, see you in the next one.